But they move on to the FA Cup last night, and Phil Foden was beginning to look the part again. What can we expect from Foden? Because this is a guy who's got so much promise. He's still just a youngster. But he said that he's overcome one of the worst parts of his career as he played a big part in firing City into the next round of the FA Cup last night. This was Foden post-match.
I feel much better on my feet. You know, it's not easy sometimes when you play with discomfort in your feet. So I'm feeling 100% fit now, and it's been one of my lowest parts of my career. But you know, everyone goes through them, and it's how you react. You know, just discomfort in my feet, not playing as much. You know, I love to play football, and when I don't, I'm a bit frustrated.
Is he right to be frustrated? Phil was talking incidentally to my mate Gabriel Clark of ITV Sport. Is he right to feel frustrated, Danny? Is he going to have to work for everything that he gets at City?
I would worry a lot if a player wasn't frustrated when he wasn't playing. And when you're at one of the best clubs in the world and a team that's winning trophies every year, you got to fight hard to stay in that team. He's competing with other brilliant players, but he is a phenomenal talent.
Phenomenal meaning what? You played at the highest level.
Well,
tell us, what do you see in him?
I see wonderful end product, goals and assists consistently, especially for a young man. The last 3 seasons he's had double figures, which is what you want. Double figures goals, double figures assists, I think, in 2 of those 3. You know, you're talking about somebody who has come into a club at a young age and managed to establish himself competing with seasoned internationals and some of the best players in Europe. Now, he wants to play every game, of course he does, but we know at City Pep doesn't do that. If you look at the City front line, Grealish has had a spell on the bench, kick up the backside, work harder, train harder. Mahrez, top goal scorer last season, he's had a spell on the sideline, kick up the backside.
Yeah.
Foden's no different. I mean, occasionally we see the best in the business. De Bruyne sitting on the bench looking very, very miffed.
Yeah.
Now, if De Bruyne can sit on the bench, I'm damn sure Foden can.
Do you think Foden will come through and be better than anybody? He's got a chance, right?
I think he will go on to be a City legend if he stays there and be remembered in the same breath as the likes of Silva, because he's got that long ahead of him. If he keeps his feet on the ground and maintains that desire that he talked about, wanting to play and work ethic, his talent takes him to places that not many other players can.
Yeah,
I think he'll be there for as long as he's able to play. Why would he want to leave? He loves City anyway.
I think, Simon, he's been the subject matter of the odd story away from the field of play that he could have done without.
But name a player really that hasn't.
I was just going to say that, Danny. Yeah. You're right. He's a youngster. Can we cut him some slack for that now?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the videos of him at the boxing and get involved in altercations, but that's unfortunately now with these players, they're so high profile, they've got so much money around them and so much attention. You watch them walk into a boxing arena, it's like the Kings walked in sometimes. I never quite understand it. But I think there's for the boy himself, you listen to the interview, he's maturing, he's 22 years of age now. He's gone through journeys, he's gone through silly stuff in Reykjavik, where he behaved in a certain way. Reykjavik, and he's a very good player. You know, I'm not quite in the camp of Danny, but I will bow to Danny's knowledge that he's a phenomenon. I think he's a really good player. We have this propensity in this country to turn English players into absolute phenomenons. We can't have them in a conversation that they're very good. They have to be world class. That's not what Danny just did there, but we talk about Rashford, he's world class. No, he's not. He's a good player. And Foden, for me, it'll be interesting to see what happens post Guardiola, because there'll come a point in the next 2 or 3 years that Guardiola's not going to be at Manchester City. Now, 2 or 3 years in the lifetime of a footballer is a significant amount of his career. So it'll be interesting to see how he cements himself. But yeah, he's a top player. And this debate about whether doing it against Bournemouth and Bristol City tells you that he's a top player. Well, he did it against Liverpool when they were in their pomp last year and other football clubs. Yeah. He's a good player.
He's the reason he'll have longevity and he won't struggle is because he's technically brilliant. And when he plays football, they call it like the street football. You know, the young lads play these days. They've got this attitude where it's all free and they use their creative skill and all that. And I see that in him. He's got tenacity in him. He's got that desire to want to. I see him when he loses the ball sometimes. I see him when they're struggling a bit. He hunts the ball down. Yeah, he'll go. And also for a small lad, he puts it in. You know, he'll mix it up.
For sure,
he's got that hunger that you want to see, and I know you should at 22, but creative flair players who are goal scorers and entertainers don't always have that.
Yeah, I get more interested in watching City when I see he's on the pitch.
Yes, and the other thing,
just to see what he's going to get.
The other reason why I think he'll stay there and be prominent for many years to come is because his game intelligence means he can play everywhere.
Yeah.
He's not stuck to one position.
Yeah. Before we hit the break, I'm determined to get this in. Recent cup winners, Leicester City, out the cup. Cause for concern? This was Brendan.
It's just consistency. It's mentality and an ambition and a drive to succeed, and that's been too up and down for us. But also, as I said, it doesn't help when you continually present opportunities to teams. Really disappointed for the supporters because it's been a real challenge for them this season, and the FA Cup was an opportunity for us to get to the quarter-final, and we were playing against a championship team. We're at home, but I thought they were a lot better than us, and we have to be worried about that.
I'll bet. He has to be worried about that, Danny, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know, they're coming from a division below them, albeit it's the cup and things like that happen. But just don't let it happen to you.
Well, it should never happen, shouldn't it? But that's the FA Cup, and that's what can happen if you're not at it. I mean, I saw highlights of the game. Some of the mistakes they made is just irrelevant in management and tactics. I mean, talk about lack of concentration and being arrogant in your performance against the lesser opposition, playing out from the back, messing around, giving the ball away on the edge of your box. You know, silly the keeper for the first goal. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. Yeah. Of course, the manager's going to take the blame, but sometimes when you're playing against lesser opposition and you're at home as well, you've got to be the one. You've got to be the team that dictates to them and shows them why you're the better ones. And it was the players let him down last night. But the more concerning thing for me with Leicester, of course, Vardy's getting older now and he's had a great career, but he's going to need replacing, someone who can be consistently getting goals. Although Iheanacho's decent, I don't know if he's a long-term answer. The big problem for Leicester is that when Maddison doesn't play, they are a different side. The numbers, Jim, are chalk and cheese when he plays and when he doesn't.
Yeah.
And to be so reliant on one player, I mean, we saw the performance of Villa when he played. They go to Villa and win 4-2 and could have scored more. You know, when he doesn't play, they're toothless. They really are lacking. Yeah. So they've got to get him back. They've got to get him fit, because what they don't want to do is go on a bad run now and end up getting dragged back in.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.